Good morning, grade 8s. Today is the 14th of September, Monday, and we have to mark the homework of exercise 9.2. And then we're also going to look at chapter 22.1, which is also on equations. Okay, so you had number 1a for homework. Let's quickly look at that equation. It's x plus 8 is equal to negative 4. Now we have to solve for x, so you have to get x alone. So that positive 8 on the left-hand side, I'm going to take to the right-hand side, and then it's going to change its sign, so it's going to become a negative 8. And minus 4 minus another 8 is negative 12. All right, question B, it says negative 3x is equal to 24. Now remember, if it's negative 3x like that, it means negative 3 times x. And how do I get rid of that multiplication? I have to divide with negative 3 on both sides. Okay, so then a positive divided by a negative is a negative answer, and 24 divided by 3 is going to give me 8. So the answer is negative 8. At question C, I have 4x plus 2 is equal to 14, and we have to solve for x. Now, are we first going to get rid of the 2 or the 4? Remember, we always get rid of the term without the x first. So in this case, we have to get rid of the 2 first. So I'm going to keep the 4x on the left-hand side. I'm going to keep the 14 on the right-hand side, and that positive 2 here will go to the right-hand side, and it will become a negative 2. All right, then 14 minus 2 is 12. And now to get rid of this 4 here, I have to divide with 4 on both sides. And then x is equal to, remember 12 divided by 4 is 3. All right, question D, it says 5x minus 3 is equal to 27. I have to get rid of the term without the x first, so I have to get rid of this positive 3, that negative 3. Okay, so I keep the 5x and I keep the 27, but that negative 3 is now going to become a positive 3. And 27 plus 3 is 30. Now I want to get x alone here, so I divide with 5 on both sides, and then x is equal to, remember 30 divided by 5 is 6. Now question E, we can solve we can use more than one method to solve E, but I'm going to multiply in this 2 first, okay? So it must be multiplied in with all the terms inside the brackets. All right, so then 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 1 is 1. I keep the rest of the equation. Now I get rid of the term without the x first, so I have to get rid of this positive 2. Therefore, I keep the 2x on the left-hand side, I keep the 10 on the right-hand side, but that positive 2 is now going to become a negative 2. And 10 minus 2 is going to give me 8. Now I want to get rid of this 2 because I want x alone. Therefore, I'm going to divide with 2 on both sides, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. F is quite easy. You can just immediately see that 6 divided by what is going to give me 2, and that's going to give me 6 divided by 3. Alternatively, you could have said I'm dividing with x here, so to get rid of the x at the bottom, because it's now as a denominator, I'm going to multiply on the other side. So then you had 2 times x, which is 2x, and then divide by 2 on both sides. So then x is equal to 3. You could have done that as well. Okay, then at G, 2 to the power of x is equal to 32. Now remember we said when x is the exponent, I have to write everything in exponential form. So how can I write 32 in exponential form? I can write it as 2 to the power of 5. Now, my bases are the same, so I can throw them away and just keep the exponents. So x is equal to 5. At H, I have x cubed plus x cubed is equal to 2. Remember, it is as good as 1x cubed plus 1x cubed. And that's going to give me 2x cubed. Now, I want to solve for x, so I want to get x alone. Therefore, I have to get rid of this 2 here. So I divide with 2 on both sides. Then I have x cubed is equal to 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now to get rid of this cube, I take the cube root on the other side. And the cube root of 1 is just 1. Okay, and then at question 2b, we have a word sum. Trevor earns 80 Rand per hour and calculate how many hours he must work to earn 720 Rand. Okay, so we can write that as an equation. Let's say he earns 80 Rand, and we don't know how many hours he must work, but altogether he must earn 720 Rand. Okay, so now to get x alone, I have to get rid of this 80, and because I'm multiplying, I have to divide on the other side. Okay, so 720 divide by 80 will give me an answer of 9 hours. Okay, if they say a number squared and then doubled is equal to 72, what is the number? Okay, we don't know what the number is, so let's name the number or make the number x. A number squared, so I square it, and then doubled multiplied by 2, okay, is equal to 72. Alright, so now I divide with 2 to get x squared alone, and 72 divide by 36. And now to get rid of this square, I take the square root on the other side. And the square root of 36 is equal to 6. Okay, the last question here. They tell us that a square has the breadth of x and the length of 2x, and the perimeter is 108 centimeters. Okay, and we must calculate the width. Okay, the width is the same as the breadth, right? Okay, what is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle? That is 2 times length plus the width. Okay, and we know what the perimeter is. The perimeter, they tell us, is 108 centimeters, so we fill it in the place of the perimeter. The length, we know, is 2x, and the width is x. Now, 2x and x, they are similar terms, so I can add them, or they are like terms, so I can add them. 2x plus 1x is 3x, and now I have to get x alone, so I'm going, because I'm multiplying here with 2, I'm now going to divide with 2 on the other side, and 108 divided by 2 is 54, and now to get x alone, I divide with 3 on both sides. And 54 divided by 3 is then 18. There you go. So x, the width, is 18, and then the length will obviously be 2x, so 2 times 18, and that's going to give me 36. Okay, at question B, they ask us for the area. Now remember, the area of a rectangle is the length times the width, or the breadth. And the length we just said is 36 because it's 2x, and 2 times 18 is 36, and the width we just found out is 18. It's 648. Okay, and they tell us it's centimeters, and because it's area, I say centimeters squared. All right, grade 8. We're still busy with equations, so just let's quickly do these 3 examples as revision. So the first one, we have x plus 4 is equal to 10. We want to get x alone, therefore I have to get rid of the 4. So the 4, I take over the equal sign, or you do the inverse calculation, so it becomes a negative 4. Then we know 10 minus 4, x is going to give me, or x is going to be 6. All right. Number 2, this here you have to be careful, all right? It's 12 minus a is equal to 3, and we have to get a alone. Now, guys, I have to get rid of this positive 12. And if I do that, I take it to the other side, the right-hand side, and it becomes a negative 12. Now, what stays left on the left-hand side is negative a. Don't throw away this negative. It's very important to keep it. Okay? So on the left-hand side, we have negative a is equal to 3 minus 12, and that's going to give me negative 9. But I don't want the answer of negative a, I want the answer of a. Therefore, I can just divide with negative 1 on both sides. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive a, and a negative 9 divided by a negative 1 is a positive 9. All right, number 3. We have 5 plus 6x equal to 23. I want to get x alone. So therefore, I'm going to keep that term with the x, 6x, on the left-hand side. So I first have to get rid of the 5. Now we have a positive 5 on the left-hand side, so it becomes a negative 5 on the right-hand side. So 23 minus 5 is 18. And now to get x alone here, I must get rid of the 6, so I divide with 6 on both sides. And then I have x is equal to 18 divided by 6 is 3. All right. You can copy these examples in your book. And then please start, with exercise 22.1. It is on page 250. You must do questions 3b, 4a, c, number 5, and 7. All right. Let's look at the answers of exercise 22.1. 3b, we have an equation 15 minus x is equal to 7. I have to solve for x, so I'm going to keep the negative. Please, guys, keep this negative here. I'm going to keep the negative x on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to take this positive 15 to the right-hand side, and it will become a negative 15. Now, 7 minus 15 is negative 8. And therefore, I don't want the answer of negative x. I want the answer of x. So therefore, I'm going to divide with negative 1 on both sides. All right? And then a negative 1x divided by negative 1 is just going to give me x. And a negative 8 divided by negative 1 is going to give me 8. All right, for a, we have 5x plus 8 is equal to 28. I want to get the term with the x alone on the left-hand side. So therefore, I must get rid of the 8. It is a positive 8 that I take to the right-hand side. So it becomes a negative 8. And 28 minus 8 is 20. And now to get this x alone, I have to get rid of the 5. So I divide with 5 on both sides. So x is equal to 4. All right. For c, I have 48 minus 8x is equal to 16. Now remember, I want to get the term with the x alone. Therefore, I keep that negative 8x on the left-hand side. And now this positive 48 goes to the right-hand side, but it becomes a negative. Now 16 minus 48 is going to give me negative 32. And now I want to get this x alone, so I have to divide with this negative 8 on both sides. So negative 32 divided by negative 8 is going to give me a positive 4, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Okay, question 5, that tell us, this is a word sum. Temba and Mpo together have 127 stamps. Temba has 4 more than twice as many stamps as Mpo. If Mpo has x stamps, then Temba has 2x plus 4 stamps. How many stamps do they each have? Okay, so we can write this as a linear equation. They tell us that Mpo has x amount of stamps, and Temba has 2x plus 4 amount of stamps. 2x plus 4 amount of stamps. Now, if I add them, the sum of their stamps together is going to give me an answer of 127. That's why I add that x to the 2x plus 4. Okay? And they tell us altogether it's 172 stamps. Okay. Now, guys, I can add the like terms. 1x plus 2x is going to give me 3x. I keep the plus 4. And do you see this is a very easy linear equation that I can solve now? I want to get the term with the x alone. Therefore, I first have to get rid of the 4. So the 4 goes over the equal sign. It was a positive, now it becomes a negative. And 127 minus 4 is 123. Now to get x alone, I divide with 3 on both sides. So x is then equal to, and 123 divided by 3 is 21. No, sorry, my bad, it's 41. Sorry. Right, question 7, they tell us a right angle triangle has sides 5 centimeters, 13 centimeters, and x centimeters, and we have to solve for x. Now, I hope you remember, but we can use Pythagoras here. Okay, now because we already have the hypotenuse, there's the hypotenuse. Remember, the hypotenuse is the one across from the 90-degree angle. All right, now we already have the hypotenuse, so therefore I have to minus. So I'm going to say x squared is equal to 13 squared minus 5 squared. And remember to give a reason, I'm using Pythagoras. Okay, now 13 squared is 169, 5 squared is 25, and if you subtract that, it gives you 144. Okay, so I know that x squared is equal to 124, but I want the answer of x. So how do I get rid of the square? I take the square root on the other side, and the square root of 144 is then equal to 12 centimeters. Next, at B, they ask us to calculate the perimeter of a triangle. Now remember, the perimeter of a triangle is just all the sides add together. So we have 13 plus 12 plus 5, which is going to give me an answer of 30 centimeters. And then at C, they ask us to calculate the area of the triangle, and the formula for the area of a triangle is half times base times the perpendicular height. And the base in this case we just worked out is 12 centimeters, and the perpendicular height is 5. So a half times 12 is 6, times 5 is also 30. But this is square centimeters because we're working with area. There you go.